Good morning everyone. Today we're going to be heading from Derwent Bridge to Queenstown, which we're then going to spend a couple of days exploring. Queenstown is very rich in history and has these otherworldly landscapes that we are very excited to see. Let's go. So we just got to our first spot and I'm genuinely confused at how busy it is. We're here at literally what, like 6:30 a.m? And I was like, oh yeah, it's just a little gravel car park off the road. There'll maybe be a couple cars and there's like 20. I'm so confused. But we'll explain this spot in a sec. First things first.
We're in Leeds territory.
Oh yeah.
So we're now at Frenchman's Cap. And we're not game for a multi-day hike, but there's a 20-minute hike to a little bridge that goes over the Franklin River. So we thought that we might as well stretch our legs first thing in the morning. So let's go.
I read that it was 20-minute return, but I ain't mad with just 15.
Yeah, I mean, 15 minutes is pretty short. So it appears that we've made it to our end destination.
It literally took maybe 5 minutes, but it was all down steps, so I guess the way back maybe a little bit longer. It's so cool. It
reminds me of the
God.
Montezuma Bridge, and I did not like that bridge.
Did you see that sign?
What?
Maximum 1 person.
Oh dear.
Oh, it looks so cool. So below us, I can't remember if you mentioned it or not, but it's the Franklin River. So coming out here, we should get a really cool view of the Franklin River.
The iconic Franklin River.
Did you hear it squeak? It was like...
It's my turn. It's a bit squeaky. I should grab the WD-40 for that. Well, there's the Franklin River. I'm not moving, and this is how much the bridge is like swaying side to side.
If you're driving past this way, I reckon it's totally worth a stop, because like I said, it probably took us 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll take us 10 to get back. And it's beautiful. Like the surroundings are so lush and so green, and that typical like
rainforesty, Tassie rainforest.
It's really beautiful. So definitely make the trip out.
Yeah. So we're now at our next spot, which is only 30 minutes out of Queenstown, but it's probably more than 30 minutes because, I mean, the drive to this spot from the other spot was meant to be 20-something minutes and it ended up being like 40 minutes.
We were driving slow though.
There's so many creeks along the way, and wombats love creeks, and wombats are also really quick. So it's better to drive slow. But we are now at Nelson Falls, which I've heard is one of Tasmania's best waterfalls.
I didn't look too much at pictures because I like
Neither
being
did I.
surprised when we get there.
And I feel like we've been to so many waterfalls that, in the most respectful way, they all kind of just start blending in and looking like each the same waterfall.
There are loads of these short waterfall walks in Tassie.
Yeah.
Which is really great for tourists who don't want to go on these like massive hikes to see a waterfall.
Yeah, for
like
sure.
Mount Field, I think, was 15 minutes.
Yeah.
The Cradle Mountain walks was not
No.
long at all either. There have been
Lilydale.
of short
Like there's
waterfall
so
walks.
many waterfalls in Tassie that you're really spoiled for choice.
This is another fantastic waterfall hike where I don't even think we're near the waterfall. We can't hear it yet.
Yeah.
But there's so many lookout points and these bridges where you can see the rivers and the creeks that you're passing that obviously link up to the waterfall. Tasmanian devil. We're starting to see it poking out. It looks so tall.
What is it with like, because I saw like one photo of it and it looked kind of small. What is it with Tassie waterfalls? You just think that they would be small, and then
and then they're really
like,
big.
Oh,
Right? Wait, it's huge.
yeah, it's enormous.
You guys can barely see anything right now, but
I take back what I said.
wow!
Yeah, it's a water rat.
Oh my gosh, we were just about to leave and a rat came out from behind the log and we think it's a water rat.
Yeah, we think it's a water rat, which...
Lucy just hopped in the water and it's tiny. I thought they were bigger than that.
Yeah, I don't know how people can confuse them for platypus.
Right?
And also, like, I feel like they did them dirty with that name because it just makes you think of like rats.
Water rat, yeah. As soon as I spotted it, I was like, Wehan, just saw a rat in the log. And he was like, water rat or normal rat? And I was like, normal rat. Because it was really small and it looks like fully black. And then I saw the tail, but then it bolted. And then as soon as it came out, it has this like, it's like orangey, browny, beigey belly. And I'm pretty sure that's what water rats have. But I think I expected a water rat to be way bigger. I'm really hoping it was a water rat now. We will have to get...
Turns out it's this like invasive rat species.
As soon as we get signal, because we have no signal, we're going to have to Google it.
Yeah.
But oh my gosh,
that would have been
so
our first
cool.
water rat if it's a water rat.
Oh, I guess that is a great way to end our time at Nelson Falls. What the heck?
Yeah, it always like amazes us. Like driving through these hills and like you just see the trees, but then like you take one stop off and you walk a couple of meters and it's something like this. Like, I wonder how much more like hidden things there are that are undiscovered or are just secret.
It's incredible. Anyway, back to the van. My hair was curly this morning, 2 short hikes, and it looks like this.
I thought humidity is meant to make your hair like frizzy and like curlier.
Frizzy and curly are very different.
Are they?
I feel like the landscape has changed so drastically within like a kilometre. It is wild. This stop that we're at is a really good way to explain why. So we are here at Iron Blow Lookout. Now this is the first mine site in the Mount Lyell fields. And it was the first site because they actually first found gold here in 1883, I believe. And out, I thought I was going perfectly in line. So here's the lookout. And out on this lookout, we should get a really cool, just make sure I'm not gonna whack it. We should get a really cool bird's eye perspective of the open cut mine. So Queenstown is very rich in mining history with copper, silver and gold being mined here. Now the Mount Lyell mine site was a huge money earner and contributed massively to Tasmania's economy. So this area was and still is extremely important resource wise. Now the Mount Lyell mines were actually closed in 2014 following the deaths of 3 people from 2 separate incidents. However, there is still a lot of resources out in this area that can be mined, and I believe there are talks of the mine reopening again.
Is that police?
Yeah.
We're being arrested, we're not meant to be in the mine. They probably just wanted to check it out.
It's really funny because my mom's partner is an engineer and he's worked on a lot of mine sites that we drive past, and we go to certain areas. He's like, oh, I did a job for them there, blah, blah, blah. And funnily enough, yesterday we were messaging him saying, hey, do you know any tips for Mount Lyell? Like, how can we smuggle some gold out? And maybe the police knew.
Probably.
Maybe they're reading our message.
He gave them a hot tip.
They came to arrest us.
Now that I know the police aren't out here to arrest us, this landscape is unlike anything we've ever seen before. We have visited mines before, but they're more typically like decommissioned mines that have been filled in with water and have turned blue.
Like Stockton Lake and Collie and...
I mean, even Little Blue Lake in Tassie.
So they really don't look like this.
Yeah, no, not at all. But the reason why the landscape and the area surrounding the mine, like the hills and whatnot, are so stripped barren is because, like similar to what happened in Rosebery, and I think we mentioned this in the Montezuma Falls hike, they cut down all the forests around to use the wood as for fuel in the smelters, and they processed quite a bit of metal. But with that, the smelters gave off sulfur fumes, and that coupled with rain and water, it turned into acid rain, and obviously, I mean, it doesn't sound good. Acid rain mixed with soil and stripped barren land.
Yeah.
Like it pretty much makes the soil like
unlivable. Habitable. Oh, sorry, mate.
Uninhabitable. Well, yeah. So it's very difficult for plants to revegetate.
Yeah.
Except for I know that there's like a weed here that's just taken over now. And also, I think it's acacia trees.
Yeah.
But
so it is slowly revegetating from what it was when the mine was at its peak and cutting down the most trees and sulfur fumes and everything.
I mean, it'll never
return to what it was.
Yeah.
We're at our next stop, and it was such a long drive to get here.
Oh, behave.
It was literally opposite to Iron Blow Lookout. So we're at Horsetail Falls, and apparently this is a seasonal waterfall, so we probably won't see any water because we're in the middle of summer and there's been pretty much no rain recently. But it should give us a really cool perspective of the landscape around us. Oh, apparently there is some water.
To our surprise, there's a little stream of water coming down.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm sure it would be cool after like crazy rainfall, but
True.
It's cool. Queenstown has this otherworldly appearance that is strangely beautiful despite being caused unnaturally and not being a natural beauty. But I thought this trail would really show us the hills, but what we've got is actually this really green, beautiful, vegetated area around the waterfall. And it's funny how condensed the hills are and how condensed the unnatural landscape is. And then around it, you've just got all this greenery and beautifulness.
I mean, I'm sure that it would have been a lot more green and a lot more dense with vegetation, similar to like what we just saw at the waterfall, Nelson Falls.
Yes.
Like those hills were absolutely covered, and these ones are like maybe 60-70% covered.
Now to drive into Queenstown and drive on, I feel like what is the most talked about and stressed about section of Tassie Road, which is called 99 Bends, and it was named because of all the bends in the road. Now,
I'm not sure if it's got 99 bends though. Looking at it,
I think it's 99.
Just looking at it on the map, it does not look anywhere close to 99. So I wonder how it got that name.
I think it's named because it feels like 99 bends.
Yeah, but I feel like it's one of those roads that it's slightly over exaggerated.
We don't know yet. We haven't driven it, so don't give your opinion yet. But we've been traveling Tassie for almost 6 months now.
Yeah.
And I feel like the whole of Tassie is windy, up and down kind of roads.
Yeah.
So I think neither of us are particularly concerned about the road.
Nah.
It also doesn't look like there's much incline on it.
Yeah.
It looks like a slight decline into
the whole
Queenstown.
way. Yeah, into Queenstown.
So we don't expect it to be bad at all, but we'll let you know how we go. That did not seem bad at all.
No, it was just like a usual Tassie road. I don't know why people are so scared about it. Like, you see it literally everywhere in like Life of Tas groups and whatever. Everyone's like, oh, can I? Like, how is 99 beds? But if you've made it to Queenstown from northern Tassie, you've driven on worse roads. Well, not worse roads, because the roads are great
like
here
you
in
would have
Tassie,
driven
but,
on
like,
pretty windy and hilly roads
by then. It's actually pretty tame when it comes to roads.
I think if you haven't driven in Tassie loads, then it might be kind of what's the word, like stressful kind of.
Yeah.
But I feel like we're so used to them now that it wasn't that bad.
With that said, I think we're very spoiled with visibility, and also we don't sit in the back of the van.
True.
I can imagine that if you have bad visibility in a car and you're in the back of a car, you might get a little car sick.
When we drove around with your parents when they visited, I was so motion sick in the back of the car.
Yeah,
so,
it's definitely a weird sensation being in the back of a car with no visibility after being in a van like this.
But overall, pretty good.
Pretty good.
Last night we spent the night here at the Queenstown Oval. You can probably see all the setups behind me, and it's actually, I think, $5 a night to stay here, and they've designated an area around the Queenstown Oval. But the Queenstown Oval itself has actually become a popular attraction for Queenstown, and that's because the Queenstown Oval is all gravel. I genuinely cannot imagine playing on this. It would be very intense, and I'm sure you'd leave with a few scratches. So the Queenstown Oval is gravel for a couple of reasons. Firstly, because of the pollution from the mine, they actually really struggled to grow grass here. And then secondly, because of the really high rainfall in this area, even if they had grass for their field, it would be unusable majority of the time because it would be all wet and mushy and gross. What? You're messing up your field.
I just softened it. I can't believe that as we're leaving it, Lydia goes, I think I should tackle you, see what it's like.
Don't call me out like that. While Wehan is bug spraying himself behind me, thought I'd explain our next stop. So we're at the Confluence, and we'll talk more about it when we get there. And to get here, it was about 15 minutes out of town on a private road, and we had no idea where to come or what to expect, because all the reviews for it, there weren't many, said that there wasn't a car park and the location on Google Maps is wrong, and you just have to look out for a man. So we were driving along this road and we spotted the man, and then there's actually this like gravel pull off right next to it, so it's actually a decent size. So even if there's a few cars here, I'd say
you can even fit like a caravan
still fit.
And stuff in there.
Anyway, let's go. It looks spooky.
That's so cool. It's like
it is.
It's like if you're having like a very dramatic wedding, like a very like
what?
Like a very,
you want to get married here? Damn, what a place.
Or a horror movie.
A horror movie or a wedding. Oh dear.
I don't know why, but this sign just like looks like a can you do the can?
What is with our energy today? We're both on another level.
I don't know.
Oh dear.
There's something in the air.
Oh. Or in the water. Kinda like crazy beautiful though.
Yeah, what?
What?
It's so dense.
I did not expect this.
Yeah, and like we're not that far away from where the bare hills were yesterday. It's
Couple of
pretty insane,
out.
the contrast. This is probably what it was like there.
Yeah, this is beautiful.
It's insane.
At least someone's put like a little makeshift handrail there. I could imagine in wet weather this would be hectic.
Yeah, the ground is kind of like cushiony.
Yeah.
So you know that it would get
really
super
sludgy.
saturated and sludgy with the rainfall.
Yeah.
So here we are at the confluence where the King River meets the Queen River. It's pretty confronting.
It's kind of gross. I mean, we'd seen it online, so I knew what we were going to see. But I think actually seeing it with your own eyes in front of you is like...
Yeah, it's not one of those like McDonald's situations where it's not at all what it looks like in real life.
What lake?
Lake McDonald.
Oh, in South Australia.
Yeah, where everyone just photoshops it
I
real
didn't
big.
hear the lake. I heard McDonald's, and I was like, "Why is he talking about McDonald's?" And then I thought about it. I was like, "No, maybe he said lake," and then
Yep.
I lost it. But yeah, it's hectic.
Yeah. It feels quite insensitive to say this, but usually when we're at like a blue lake or something, we always make the joke that it's like a Powerade or a Gatorade factory up the stream. But I've read multiple places that locals say that this is Fanta meets Coke. So
Even this sign says it.
does it?
Yeah, look.
Oh yeah, there. Right there. Yeah.
Fanta
So
meets Coke.
it's not very insensitive of me saying that. It's actually me just being like, yeah, they're right. It does look like Fanta meets Coke. And what makes it even more funnier is that there's a hydro plant up the river that looks like Coke. So, I mean, technically, the water does go through the power station. So, that's even more closer to it being like a factory pumping up Coke. And not the bad kind. Well, I mean, depends on... Now, you're probably wondering, why does this river look like this? And that's because the Queen River is connected to a creek where the Mount Lyell mine used to dump their tailings into. Now, I read in multiple places what appears to be from locals saying that this river used to be soupy and grey, and if you throw a rock into it, the rock would take its time and slowly sink. And ever since a new owner took lease of the mine, they decided to build a proper tailings dam to dump the tailings into rather than into the river. And since then, the river's turned from the soupy grey, thick consistency into a more fluid orange river. Now, what makes this river this orange brownish color is that the mine tailings are very, very rich in iron and are actively oxidizing. And sadly, this acid and metal-rich water is still pouring from the creek, which drains the mine workings as well as the huge old mine dumps. It's also not very localized and is pouring all along the embankment of this river and into Macquarie Harbour. It's pretty hard to show, and I'm pretty sure this area would be managed by hydro because there's a hydro power station a couple hundred meters away from here, but it's not managed by parks and wildlife or forestry from what we can tell. But I'm not going to risk flying a drone to show, you know, the condition of the river. But
We did try our best to see if we could.
Yeah, we did. There's a really good video on YouTube by a guy called Bo Miles, and he
kayaked it.
It's very cinematic, the whole video, and he shows how beautiful the surroundings of the river is.
It was such a cool video, and he kayaks or rafts down.
Rafts
He
down
rafts down it, and some of the shots are insane.
Yeah.
But I feel like he got really cool drone footage, right? And I think seeing it in person is something else.
Yeah.
And I feel that drone perspective really shows you that.
The contrast.
Yeah, it's wild. So definitely, if you want to learn more about the river and this situation, go watch that. It is such a good video. Yeah. And there was something he did testing.
Yeah.
Right?
So I think his wife is a scientist and she works for a company. But he got DNA, not DNA samples, but he took
along
like
the river, right?
Yeah, he took
different
like
areas of the river.
Tests along the river and checked the DNA along the river and the creeks and everything. And what came back is that there are like animals living along the creeks that connect to this river, but there's no DNA evidence. DNA evidence of any animals or anything in this river.
Actually living there, it's like unlivable.
Yeah, so I'm not sure whether it's just the DNA being killed off because of the acid and the metal, or whether it's just there's no animals that actively use this water.
Yeah, I feel like he covers it really well,
Yeah.
so definitely go check that out.
Yeah.
There's a visitor book here that we should look at.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go grab it.
Also, you can actually see the orange on the embankments of Macquarie Harbour at the end, well, the river mouth. River mouth? It's like the end of this river. So I'll insert like a shot of the satellite so you can see that.
Okay, I'm grabbing the visitor book. I feel like something's gonna be living in here. It's gonna like jump out at me.
It's just going to be a little possum.
Kind of terrifying.
A little pygmy possum. Oh, sugar glow.
Pygmy possum. I was thinking like a huntsman.
It looks like a possum house, doesn't it?
It does. Ew, ew. No huntsman that I can see. I've got to say, I feel like everyone who comes to Queenstown should come here.
Yeah,
I feel like this you have to see to believe.
It's more confronting and contrasting than the Bear Hills, I'd say, and like the mine pits.
I think so. And I think it's such a cool perspective and really teaches you about what has happened in the past and how things could have changed and how things could be done different. And it was a really short, actually really beautiful walk to get here.
Yeah.
It was really dense, nice forest, and it's only, like we said, like 15 minute drive out of
It's
Queenstown.
definitely a good place
Like
to stretch
10
your
minutes.
legs.
So definitely come here if you're in Queenstown. Like, very much recommend. Anyway, visitor book. It's kind of
so
beautiful.
Cute. It's so cute. I feel like everything is so well done here.
Book number 3.
Jeez.
I wonder who's keeping these.
Right? It's probably at the visitor center.
Wow. Forbidden pumpkin soup, spicy. Interesting sight despite the horrific cause. It's wild.
Yeah.
Amazing contrast, cooler than a cucumber.
Huh?
Oh. These are so interesting. What the heck? All right, should we write in it?
Yeah. What are you writing?
I don't know.
Also, just a fair warning, Lydia's handwriting is almost as confronting as his river.
Excuse you? What did I write?
I feel like that's always the issue. It's like when you're put on a spot to write something. What did you write? Were you creative?
Well, no. I felt very pressured to be creative or funny, but...
You should have just
I'm
written
neither.
something like sponsored by the Coca-Cola company. Because
No,
don't they own Fanta and Coke?
Funny. That's it. I'm not reading you because it's
No,
boring.
read it.
I just wrote, how confronting, thank you for maintaining the trail.
Oh, that's
Like,
nice.
shout out to the person who puts this together if it is a local.
Yeah.
Obviously, I couldn't confirm that.
Yeah, I can't imagine
You
taking
looked
on
that
a...
way, you scared me. Beyond looked that way as if someone was stood behind me.
I can't imagine taking on a project like this and maintaining it. It's...
But I think it's important for people to
Oh,
see.
yeah, of course.
It's like, this is, I've never seen anything like this, and
Yeah.
I feel like this is something that will always, like, be a memorable part of this travel.
Yeah. I do also have to say, if you didn't know about the tragic thing that happened in the past year, if you came here and did this walk, you would be in awe of like how beautiful it is. And it's almost so eerie how much life there is surrounding this dead river. Now, what is pretty cool about the King River, so the non-orange one, the Coke one, is that it's actually multi-use. So not only is it generating power, well, it's a byproduct of generating power, people love to kayak here and like do like slalom courses when they dump, well, not dump the water, but when the power station is running. But when the power station isn't running, it's actually a very, very popular gold panning location. Now, just a little tidbit, I might be wrong, but I might also be right. So the hydroelectric power station is named after John Butters, as you can see here. And I'm like 90% sure that he was like the lead engineer or like the whatever of HEC, which is what hydro's now turned into, is now hydro. And I think when he left there, he went to Canberra and helped out majorly with the development and planning of Canberra, the city of Canberra, which I know is like one of the most like, people look at Canberra as being like a very, very optimized and efficient city. So, little tidbit. So there's a couple of spots along the road that get pretty close to the river, and this is probably one of the better ones. And I just have to say, it's so weird. I know we've mentioned this before, but like the trees right next to this river, and then what's also weird is just, it doesn't smell at all. You would think that river would smell so bad, but it's some of the freshest air that you can smell. It almost feels wrong just breathing in the air. But it's totally normal and fine.
It's even darker here, and it's crazy.
It's not meeting the other river. It's pretty insane.
So we just left our van back at the Queenstown Oval, and we are now on foot to go and explore the town. But we're in a little bit of a rush because the West Coast Wilderness Railway train is about to leave, so I'm trying to make it in time for it departing. Alright, so I think we found a really nice place to wait out the train and hopefully see it departing. And if we start going like this, it's because there's a bunch of March flies here, so they've been bugging us for the last 5 minutes.
Definitely something we're not used to anymore. But this railway was used back in the day to take the ore from Queenstown to the port town of Strait.
Yeah, so it was super useful back in the day, and then when the train actually closed,
because they upgraded the roads to the west coast from the north and the south, I believe, the locals decided that it would be a good idea to convert this railway into a tourism heritage railway. So they petitioned for it, and the government, I think there was government, they got some funding for it. It was private and government funding to put this all together, and we would have loved to go on the train ride.
It was so high on our list. We had it before.
Yeah, even before coming to Tassie.
Yeah, I think before
we were going to book the
Tassie.
tickets on the ferry.
And they have a lot of train rides that go through the rainforest and everything, and that's what we were going to book. But they've actually been doing maintenance on the railway lines for almost a year,
Yeah, it's been quite a while now.
And we've been waiting out, and we actually were going to do it when we first came to Tassie and went to the West Coast, but they had the maintenance. We thought, oh, by the time we get back around, they'll be running it, but they're actually still doing maintenance.
Yeah.
So they only offer a really short train ride at the moment out to Lynchford, which you can actually kind of drive out to from here. So sadly, we are passing on it this time.
Yeah, but
definitely
if we come to Tassie in the future, we definitely will check it out.
Very high on our list for a future visit. Someone just started like cutting something or using a saw, and Bianca's because he thought it was a train whistle. Just our luck. I don't think they're running this train. We've been waiting here for 30 minutes past the departure time.
Standing here on the edge of my seat, waiting for this locomotive to pass by. And I guess this is what happens with travel. Sometimes your plans get derailed.
Oh, yeah. So we're gonna go check out the museum.
We probably could have walked to the end spot to where they're going.
By now. So I think we're gonna go in, head to the museum in there. Maybe we'll ask them if they're running one this afternoon or tomorrow that we can check out.
Yeah.
But we're also gonna walk through the town and check it out.
Yeah.
But it is so hot out right now. There you go. I just came out the shade into the sun, and it's very hot. So see you in there. This is meant for kids, but it's got Vian's attention.
Wow, the train isn't running today, I'll give you guys a demonstration. Big green train goes.
No, you've got it upside down. Hoping we'd be able to peek in, but they have a really good tent, so we can't actually see in. Sadly.
Sad. But I mean, it's good if you want privacy inside.
True.
So. At whichever journey you decide to take, they have a little turning table at pretty much all the train stations, I believe. So pretty much what they do is they load the main train car onto that, so the locomotive, and then they manually like push and turn the thing around, and then take it back on the tracks, and then hook up all of the carriages on the back of it.
To change direction.
Do change directions, because otherwise, like, how else would you turn around a train? So, would have been pretty cool to see one in demonstration, but it's all good. And it's kind of cool seeing a turntable right here in the town.
If you hear weird noises in the background, Bian's trying to distract the march flies, and he's like running around like this, whacking it. But we have just left, and sadly they're not running any trains today, which we're super sad about because we really wanted to see it. But even if the trains are not running or you're not taking the ride, I really think it's worth coming and checking out. So they have a little museum there with loads of artifacts, just loads of things from history, even old tickets and maps, and talking about the stories and how everything was set up, and photographs and pieces of the train. It was really cool. And then you can actually go back and look at the train. They have a cafe there, they have a gift shop, and then they even have displays just outside. You can see the turntable outside. Like, there is a lot to it, and it is still really cool to check out. So we were then going to explore the town on foot, check everything out, see all of the different memorials around the town, and just be in awe at the crazy mountains above the town. But
this Tassie sun is different. Like, it can be a 20-degree day and the sun would be out, and you would be absolutely toasted.
The Tassie sun is so intense. It's really funny because all week my mom's been like, oh, it's 40 degrees this week.
It's 42
so
degrees.
hot. And every time I'm
39,
like, oh, it's 20, but it feels just as hot.
It's probably worse.
Yeah,
I mean,
probably.
You can see there's a caravan behind us, and it's got like black part on it, like on the roof, and you can see the heat radiating from it.
It's so wild.
Wild.
So I think we're gonna stay here another night. We're gonna go cool off, chill in the van for a bit, and then maybe tomorrow early morning.
Yeah, in the morning
we'll come around and have a walk, and I guess pick it all back up tomorrow.
Yeah.
So see you then. Bye. Good morning, everyone. So it's a new day and we're exploring Queenstown in the cool. It is very nice, but I had to just comment already on how pretty Queenstown is. Like, the buildings are so quaint and little and pretty, and then you've got these huge rugged mountains like over the top, towering over the town, and it is just so beautiful and so impressive. And I feel like mountains themselves are really impressive, but when they're towering right over a town, it's just it's really beautiful.
It really shows the scale of them. But
and
also,
they've got a lot of artwork around.
I was gonna say, it's like they got inspired by Sheffield. There's like
inspired. Okay, you shouldn't say they're inspired by Sheffield.
There's Granite Hills, like it is on the opposite side of the Iron Blow, and then there's some mural of, I'm guessing, important people. And
they've got a lot of memorials as well, and I feel like every section of the town, this sounds weird, but every section of the town, there's something to look at besides just the beautiful buildings already. But you've got a memorial, or you've got, like, in front of the railway station, you've got all of those railway displays. Here you've got the murals on the buildings. It's just everywhere something beautiful to look at.
I do also have to say the bare hills look quite a bit more dramatic in the morning with the sun glaring on them.
Oh yeah.
It's actually pretty quiet here this morning, which is expected. It is like 6 a.m.
Yeah. We're literally here when everyone's driving to work. So
yeah, but
really,
it was super busy here yesterday.
Yeah.
I feel like Queenstown is like a drive-through hotspot. Like, people stop here along the way to the north coast.
Yeah.
quite often. Also, like, the few locals that we ran into, like, they've all been so lovely.
So nice.
And you can really see how and why there's so much, like, so many memorials and things around the town, because, you know, everyone here, they're very passionate
There's a lot
about
of, like, pride in their town.
about the history and about each other. And yeah, I mean, when you go through so much
Tragedy?
tragedy
A lot
together,
of hard times in mining.
it brings everyone closer.
Yeah, and it's like,
Yeah.
just a lot of respect, clearly, for
Yeah.
the history here and the different generations who've lived here, and they're all just lovely people.
Yeah.
Literally just after we say that the locals here are lovely, we're headed to the fire memorial. I will add the proper name on screen. And ended up getting pretty distracted because we ended up talking to one of the locals there. She was actually born in Queenstown and has been in Queenstown her whole life, so it was really cool chatting with her and talking about how things have changed and how it looks very different to when she was young, and it was just really cool. So Queenstown locals, you are absolutely lovely. The sun has now come up. And we are at Miners Siding. So here we are at Miners Siding, and this is actually really cool and bigger and more detailed than I thought it would be from what I could see online. So I actually wanted to kind of explain this through to you guys rather than just showing shots of it. So really we start off with this sculpture of a prospector and his family on a day of rest. So you've got this early days, early miner, and then if we keep going through, so we come to these boulders, and these have bronze plaques on them, and either side is a casting of a different major event in Queenstown's history that led it from being this prospector in a small mining camp to a big settled community. So we're following along through the decades pretty much. So keep going, join me through the decades. We keep going through all these different events. And these castings are very detailed. I'm so impressed by how detailed they are on that event. So, keep going. We just travel through like 100 years. And we got this really cool fountain next to us. Come on up. Now, we come up here where firstly we've got this, try not to walk into it, this volcanic rock which actually has veins of minerals through it.
Yep.
I believe it said pyrite and calcopyrite. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. So then you kind of end with this massive drilling rig actually on a mine site and depicting what that would look like. So I found it so cool that this whole display is just massive and takes you through everything, and it's just really cool and really impressive.
I also feel like Tassie always just really shows off with having the best of the best. Like, this artwork is done by a really, like, a world-renowned sculptor, and I think he specialized in bronze sculpting, and he was born in Melbourne and went to Europe and trained and studied there, and then came back and then moved to Tassie. And I think he has like close to 70 sculptures all around Tasmania depicting important things or events or yeah.
We're back in the van, and sadly our time in Queenstown is coming to an end. We wanted to acknowledge before we go that a lot of people, when they come to Queenstown, they also go to Strawn,
Yeah.
the coastal town, which I don't think is that far out from here.
No, not at all.
But we have actually been to Strawn before because we went there with Vian's parents when they flew over from Perth and joined us in Tassie for a week. And we ended up doing the Gordon River cruise, which everyone recommends, and it was really good.
Yeah, and I mean, even Sean, like, aside from the cruise, like, it's such a aesthetic and beautiful,
it's so beautiful,
like, town. I feel like it's super popular, especially with like accommodation as well.
Yeah, and the West Coast Wilderness Railway usually runs from Strawn as well.
Yeah.
But because of the maintenance, they're not there at the moment. But we did just want to flag that, because if you're coming to Queenstown, we definitely feel like you should pop by Sean as well.
And you can also see the Huon Pine mill. I think it's the only one operating left. Yeah.
There you go. So definitely check it out. But that is it for our time in Queenstown. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you in the next one.
Whatever we're getting up to.
Bye, guys.